in the kraut, you're getting some of those soil organisms in the sauerkraut, right? So maybe the K2 then is some of this transformational alchemical process is in the kraut because it was in the dirt originally.
Well, made from the bacteria on the cabbage or whatever. There's really no dirt. Maybe it's taken up into the plant.
Well, so remember, I started making sauerkraut about 30 years ago, and so ideally, you want to use the whole cabbage with the leaves that fall on the ground. You want to use those, and you don't really want to rinse it off. You want to brush that dirt off and let that stuff get in. And what do we do in America? Oh, sterilize this and sterilize that, and blah, blah. We don't really have healthy soil, granted. If you got a cabbage growing in an industrial farm, you definitely don't want those leaves falling on the dirt, right? So it's tough. But we want that. So that's why when I do sauerkraut, I try to inoculate it with a kefir or a yogurt whey. Then I'm getting a speeder upper.
That's an animal product. I'll talk about that later.
Good point.
She's a purist.
Coconut yogurt
Right,
whey.
but you don't want to put an animal product in a vegetable.
I do it all the time. I've been doing it for 30 years. Quite successful.
Well, there's two schools.
Yeah, I've been doing it for 30 years. Quite successful.
Probably not bad to do, but it's not the same thing.
My method of kraut making is always a sealed jar because they're facultative anaerobes. The lactobacillus, the species in kraut are facultative anaerobes. So this eliminates, the sealed jar eliminates any exterior contamination. I have never had a bad kraut or a beet kvass doing this method in 30 years. Never. When you have it exposed to the air, then whatever's in the air, like I've seen a kombucha SCOBY go bad by someone smoked a cigarette in the room. The SCOBY just went, died. It's like, F you, I don't like your shitty smoke. So, yeah. We're gonna, one more and then we're gonna run out of
The
time.
calcium you mentioned earlier.
What?
You mentioned something about the calcium. So how much do you know how much calcium and source and types and levels?
Best form is raw. That's why I use the standard process line because they grind up the entire cow, bones, meninges, marrow, and then they dehydrate it in a vacuum at 72 degrees Fahrenheit, and so the enzymes are still intact.
Where'd you get that?
That's standard process.
Is that the calcium?
That's the calcium food wafers.
The wafers.
The calcium food wafers or the calcium food
I have
powder.
a question about chlorophyll.
Yeah, they're practitioner only line. You can get them on. Yeah. No, you get them on my website and give me the money, not Amazon or some big corporation. Fuck that.
Yeah, you don't want to get it from Amazon because you don't know how old it is.
Why Emerson? Why not Craig? Buy it on my website. Support me. I'm supporting you right now. Fuck Emerson. Does anybody know anybody in Emerson here? Does anybody know an Emerson person here? No. You know me. Buy on my website. Thank you. Jeez, support me. Emerson.
What about chlorophyll?
Okay.
Because you're getting the sun, your whole thing.
I know, I'm trying. There's a lot to talk about. Okay.
And your website. We need your website.
That's,
We're going to
okay.
send that.
Yeah, we'll do that at the very end. Okay. Because I knew this was going to run out of time. So you guys get enough of a sample of this ADK thing, right? So I'm going to move on and spend the last 10 minutes talking about melanin and other ways to harvest sunlight. And if some of you have never seen, this is the reason why a lot of people are never healthy. It's my favorite picture in the entire world. I have it on my work. So on one of them is a healthy intestinal cell. Each one of those little dots is an enzyme, and that's most people. So they're digesting, to your point earlier, they're digesting about 1,000 times less than a healthy gut person.
Yeah,
And these are enterocytes, and this is GAPS.
She's great. Yeah.
I just love it. So you can pass that on. I get a look. So yeah, the most important thing for calcium, we talk about calcium context, is you've got, so I supplement with stomach acid every meal and enzymes because you cannot absorb protein and minerals without adequate stomach acid. So if you're in fight or flight, you're going to osteoporosis in 10 years.
What about eating standing up?
Wait, let's go back to the, I know it's easy. Eating is always better. Sitting, the nervous system wants to sit when we're eating. Chewing 30 to 50 chews per mouthful is the parameter. So we have greens, and there's debate about meat doesn't need to be chewed that much because you want it to sit in there longer. So All right, I'm okay with that. There's debate, the primal diet through Agenus. They had people not eating, chewing their meat as much, and they're getting good results. But I don't want to go into that.
That's why you want to chew your shakes if you have a smoothie.
Chew your liquids. What is it? Drink your food and chew your liquid was Gandhi's statement. Chew your liquids and drink your foods was Gandhi's statement. So sunlight can come in a couple different forms. Humans use it, and there's your chlorophyll, because plants have this thing called the Fenton reaction, and they take sunlight and combine it with carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and they make sugar. What? What? They're taking sunlight and carbon, hydrogen? So there's your, see, water and air. CO2 H2O. So plants are making carbohydrate from sunlight via this Fenton reaction. There's another reaction, I forgot the name of it. And then we eat the plants. See? So you talk about alchemy. They're in the hot sun all day, the wind all day. You talk about alchemists, and they live year round in, you know, hot sun. It's amazing. So we have, I have a PowerPoint for this. That's why if you guys want the recorded material, I'm going to do a studio recording of the science of this. I already have a document through Sayer G, the Green Med Info. We had a bunch of documents about melanocytes and melanin. And so melanin is the pigment that makes us, you know, tan. And there's a cell called the melanocyte, okay? And then there's a hormone called Melanocyte Stimulating Hormone, MSH. And guess what's connected with this hormone? Lyme and Epstein-Barr. So when you have an off, I have the science on this. If it shows off, either high or low, I can't remember, then it's a potential of having Epstein-Barr and or Lyme. But I believe they're the same thing. And then you have to look at biopleomorphism, or shape-shifting bugs terrain theory. The bugs change according to how we eat, and they can change shape and form based on need, and they can cloak.
They can what?
Cloak themselves from our immune cells. They can hide. And so if your cell membranes, if you're eating shitty fat and shitty proteins, then your cells are stupid. And the cloaked pathogens just cruise around. Anybody see dark field? Anybody see any dark field microscopy?
Yeah.
Man, there's some cool stuff. I've seen parasites eating red blood cells like donuts in the live blood, like cruising around like Pac-Man, eating red blood cells. There's another form of anemia from parasites. We don't talk about that. So melanin is also something that mushrooms make, and fungus. So there's a potential then, by eating mushrooms and fungus, you might be getting some sunlight through the mushroom. Kind of cool.
You said they eat melanin?
They make melanin.
They make melanin.
Yeah, they make. The Sayer G has a great article, but I have it all compressed into one. There's about 4 or 5, and then I went to Wikipedia and NIH, and I have this huge document called Melanocytes and Light Energy. So I kind of went one up to Sayer. Last is humans, and so there's some NIH studies. People are starting to debate that they think that humans, here's why I'm doing this talk, may harvest sunlight directly. They're not sure. Isn't that cool? Melanin. I'm thinking, doesn't that sound the same? Melanin. So I think that maybe the light, you were saying, the light going in the eyes, lighting up the brain. There's this limbic center.
Isn't that the pineal gland? The melatonin and serotonin, and then once activity is
Yeah,
released?
remember questions, we're going to finish up in a couple minutes, and we'll have questions, a lot of them at the end. So this is where the magnesium and the chlorophyll comes in. So it turns out, this is why we need to change the science, that all the, I don't want to use the word, all of the conspiracy recommendations, even from the natural people, they mess with our mitochondria's ability to digest oxygen and iron properly. The ascorbic acid, the D3, the zinc, a bunch of those, citric acid. They chelate and mess with copper metabolism, because there's this copper enzyme called ceruloplasmin. I will spell it, CERULOPLASMIN, ceruloplasmin. It's a copper-containing enzyme that controls how iron and oxygen is metabolized for ATP at the cell level. We're even debating through these Melanin articles that we might not even be making ATP like we think. It's a chosen conceptual parameter we've agreed upon, but it may not be true. So that the truth then is that we want our car to burn fuel cleanly without a lot of black exhaust, right? So the exhaust in our body is oxidation. That's why we want some antioxidants. And so all the recommendations mess with copper metabolism and magnesium. So every time, this is what they say, our mitochondria mix ATP, there's a magnesium attached to it. So Morley came up with what's called the magnesium burn rate, MBR. And the more stressed you are, more sympathetic dominance you have, the more you burn off magnesium. I'm taking 900 milligrams a day. 10 years ago, I was barely at 200 or 300. So in the root cause protocol, that's one of the first things to start with is high dose magnesium, because magnesium was called in the old elemental world of the chemistry of man, Bernard Jensen's work, the anti-sort of toxicity mineral.
You supplement this?
Yeah, I take a ligand form, magnesium SRT by Jigsaw Health. It's a high dose item, 120 milligrams, 125 milligrams per tablet, which is very high. You usually don't get it that high. And it's a malate form. Do not take magnesium citrate. Citric acid is a big problem with your mitochondria. No citrate, no calm.
No citric acid at all.
No magnesium citrate, no citric acid.
What about magnesium lactate?
So MMS, don't use MMS with citric acid, use MMS with hydrochloric acid.
Oh, because it comes together with that citric acid.
And that's just bullshit.
What about magnesium glycinate?
Wait. Yes. All the magnesiums are good, just think citrate bad.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Citric acid's no good.
it's the form of citric acid. They're making it industrially, and this is what the Miller's Farm is facing out in Pennsylvania. They want all the meat sprayed down with this toxic DuPont citric acid, and Amos has been fighting it for years, and now they took him down because they want all of our meat to be adulterated.
Right, they want to screw us up.
And they reversed it and said he's doing adulterated meat.
Yeah.
They inverted it, and they sent the SWAT team to the guy's farm a few months ago. Literally a farmer with a SWAT team showing up.
It's disgusting.
Are you freaking kidding me? This is why I'm up here talking today, because we're in World War III. I mean, they're trying to take us down. Like, get rid of all the farms, and you got this Beyond Meat bullshit, refined gluten and soy. And if you're a protein type, you'll die on that diet in weeks. As a matter of fact, I had a teacher that said I could kill you in a month on a seemingly normal diet, and I think I could do the same now. Give you the opposite diet of what you need, and you'd go downtown in a month. So, and usually it's excessive carbohydrates. Get some questions in just a minute. I'm going to finish in a second. So, by doing, let's go back to the Gershon diet. That's a good point.
Did you finish up with the chlorophyll?
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
Oh.
Yeah, see if we can get this adjusted down here. Readjust. Thank you. So, the magnesium is at the center of the chlorophyll molecule, right? And I'm saying magnesium is a really important mineral. So actually, the best form of magnesium you can use is from green juices. And fresh green juices of plants freshly cut will also be high in the water-soluble sunlight vitamin called vitamin C.
Oh, what?
Vitamin C. Vitamin C is your water-soluble sunlight vitamin. Vitamin A is your fat-soluble sunlight vitamin. Why do you think I would say vitamin C is your water-soluble sunlight vitamin? What is ascorbic acid similar to that I just mentioned about this CHO thing? Ascorbic acid is part of the C complex. And plants are making this sunlight vitamin. Hint, hint. Ascorbic acid, a lot of people don't know this, is one enzymatic step removed from sugar. It's why in all my cancer therapies, do not inject yourself with ascorbic acid. Oh, you're getting your vitamin C injection. It's not a vitamin C injection, it's ascorbic acid injection.
Is that what people get?
And I believe cancer can take those injections and turn that ascorbic acid into sugar and use it against you. It's one enzyme removed. So what are they doing? They're making GMO corn syrup in China, putting an enzyme thing in there, and turning it into ascorbic acid and saying that's vitamin C. Are you freaking kidding me? You know, Shorgy, the guy that got the Nobel Prize for C, before Linus Pauling, because I was talking about this last night, they're like, are you saying you're going to refute Pauling? I'm like, yeah, I am. Because Shorgy said, who got the Nobel Prize and discovered vitamin C, you, quote, You cannot cure scurvy with ascorbic acid, end quote. And then Pauling came along, and I think he was controlled opposition. I had a cancer patient doing the Pauling protocol, and he died. Like 5,000 milligrams of ascorbic acid a day, and I'm taking C. I told him, you're not taking C. You are not taking the whole C complex has bioflavonoids, copper, an enzyme called tyrosinase. And tyrosine is an amino acid that goes into your thyroid hormone. So somehow vitamin C, whole food